Hello and welcome back to the channel. I have to tell you, this is a completely impromptu video filming session. I was just sitting here this afternoon making my dilly beans. We had actually canned 1.5 bushels of green beans last week, but I'd set aside 2 pounds to make a recipe of dilly beans and forgot about it. Today's actually our first day of school, but usually we do a very light day, so I accomplished everything in the morning. This is the afternoon, I'm doing this, and whilst I'm working on my beans, I'm watching a YouTube video from a nice gentleman named Rob the Maritimer. He is based in Halifax, Canada. I'll link his channel down below. And he's all about encouraging people over 40 to just make a YouTube channel. And he was sharing how his channel has grown in the last year and giving some of the tips. One of them being to just show up. So while oftentimes I think my videos have to be very planned and I have to think about my ideas, a lot of advance notice and put my outfit together and all that jazz, I thought I'm gonna take his advice about just showing up and turn the camera on and share with you what I'm doing right now. If you haven't made dilly beans before and you like things that are pickled, I recommend it. You just take your green beans, in this case it's about 2 pounds of green beans, and you want to trim them. I don't trim off the tail end, I just trim off the top, the end that would be attached to the plant until it fits nicely in a pint jar. And then in each jar I will put a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Hold on a moment, I forgot my measuring spoon. And because I had to get out my cayenne pepper, it reminded me I've been wanting to talk to you about a book that encouraged me to make a change in how I did something in the kitchen. And I was thinking about that a few weeks ago and thought I'm going to share that book with my YouTube audience, because if you haven't read the book, you might enjoy it. But anyway, it's a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper in each jar, and then 1 clove of garlic. If you've been watching my channels, you would have seen me when I was cleaning my garlic. I discovered this little thing, little garlic roller thing. Actually, wow, oh, interestingly, that's funny. You know, I was just saying that I was inspired to make this video because Rob the Maritimer in Halifax. Well, I learned about this little doohickey for garlic from a chef in Canada also, and I think his restaurant is on Prince Edward Island in Canada. I happen to be reading through the Anne of Green Gables book series again. That's my nighttime reading, so it's taken me a while to get through it. Okay, here I am touting how much I love this thing, and it's not actually working today. Alrighty, I have had that happen before, where you have to maybe cut off the end. But when it works, there we go, it loosened it up a little bit, at least. There you go, perfect. What's the name of that chef? I found him on a kitchen, it was a kitchen cooking show years ago. Can't think of his name anymore. I'll look him up and I'll put that in the description too, because if you ever get a chance to go to Prince Edward Island, which I haven't, but I'm looking forward to when I do, you might want to visit his restaurant. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the cooking show. I can't remember anything about it except for, you know, that he shared about this thing. Anyway, the dilly bean recipe I've used just for years, the same one, is the simple one from this Fall Blue book, which if you're into canning, you might already have. And if you are not into canning yet, but you want to get into canning, then I recommend getting this book because it answers all kinds of questions. The one thing I would not recommend is that you do not follow their recipe for how to can tomatoes. It will leave you with a disgusting looking product that you will not want to eat. When you can tomatoes, do not add any water. You just want to can the tomatoes in their own juice so that when you pop the seal in the wintertime, it's like a taste of sunshine. Here it is, the Fall Blue book. Guide to Home Canning, Freezing, and Dehydration. And you can see this is very worn. I use it all of the time. Even if I know the measurements for things, I sometimes still have to look it up to know the times. Like actually earlier today, I was canning my pickled beets, and I know that pickled beets are done in a water bath canner, but I couldn't remember the time. Okay, so green beans, 1 clove of garlic, for a pint that is, 1 clove of garlic, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and then 1 dill sprig, which this is from my garden. This is probably my favorite part of making dilly beans, is putting in this lovely dill sprig, which looks so fresh and beautiful. Of course, when you open it up in January to eat it, this will no longer look fresh and beautiful. Just toss it. But right now, my kitchen smells lovely with the aroma of fresh dill. Okay, so if you know anything about canning, you know that I will add the pickling liquid to this. I will get the air bubbles out, put on a hot lid, and then I will put it in the water bath canner. Before I do that, and I'm not gonna bore you with that step, you can do canning on another, how should I say this? There's lots of canning videos out there. I want to share with you about this book that I read years ago. It changed the way I organize my spices. All right, so here it is. This is my cabinet where I keep all of my spices. I decided to put all my spices in this cabinet specifically because right here is where I do all of my food prep. My KitchenAid is here, all of my cutting boards. Down here I have all of my baking products and whatnot. So my spices are right here. And this kitchen already came with these nice hickory cabinets. This is not an ad for hickory cabinets. And these fancy schmancy roll out drawers, which I always thought were the coolest thing. I still do. And here it is. Look, the book is right here. Life from Scratch by Sasha Martin. So because I like sharing with you books, I thought I would share this book with you and show you the big life change that this book brought about, which is how I organize my spices. Interestingly, she talks about how having her husband give her a couple of boxes of these kind of spice jars, which I think are called French square jars, gave her the idea to do an entire cook around the world expedition, which she then turned into a blog, which then became this book. So that's neat how just one item can really snowball into this fantastic thing where you have no idea where it's going to take you. So after I read this book, and I found out about this book because she was on Rick Steves' radio and Milk Street Radio, and I listen to both of those radio broadcasts when I do my desk work. They're fantastic. If you've never heard of Rick Steves' Radio or Milk Street Radio with Christopher Kimball, I can really recommend them. So if you haven't read this book, it's called Life from Scratch, a memoir of food, family, and forgiveness. And if I can see, I'll read you just I'll read you the back cover, but it looks like the back cover would be what people are saying about the book. And then the inside flap is where you'll find the description. Oh, let me share with you this one quote. This is by A.J. Jacobs, the author of The Year of Living Biblically, which is another great book. This beautifully written book is both poignant and uplifting, not to mention delicious. It's an amazing family tale that reminds me of The Glass Castle, but with more food, and not just any food. We're talking cinnamon raisin pizza. Anywho, 195 recipes, 195 countries, 195 weeks. With this ambitious goal in mind, food writer and blogger Sasha Martin sets out to cook and eat a meal from every country in the world. In her heartfelt memoir, filled with longing and love, loss and forgiveness, she embarks on a culinary journey that becomes a story about the things that matter most to all of us. In the hardscrabble kitchen of her family's home in working-class Boston, Martin learns to cook at an early age. Her teacher is her eccentric, wildly creative single mother, determined, despite a food stamp budget, to recreate the bustling immigrant kitchen of her own upbringing. Together they construct whimsical, unusual recipes, from a 19-layer German tree cake to a pizza made from a cinnamon raisin toast. But her mother's unconventionality and indifference to authority, both her greatest strength and her Achilles heel, lead to unforeseen consequences for Martin and her brother, including some tumultuous stints in foster care. Soon, Martin finds herself in a series of new homes abroad, far from everything and everyone she's ever loved. Cooking becomes her anchor, her through line, her way to belong. Poignant, inspiring, and filled with enticing recipes, Life from Scratch takes us on a journey that spans 2 continents. Let's see, when was this published? 2015, published by the National Geographic Society. So if you haven't read it, you might want to pick up a copy. Just a quick outfit of the day. This shirt was purchased for me by my daughter from a thrift store. I don't know if I've shown it to you already. If I have, I'm sorry for the repeat. But it's Croft & Barrel. I love that it has a little bit of detailing with a little ruffled collar, this kind of smocking, and fitted sleeves. So it's comfortable yet pretty. Perfect for the first day of school, I think. Okay, so here they are, 4 pints of dilly beans. For 2 pounds of fresh beans, you can usually get 4 pints. And as mentioned, I use the recipe in the Ball Blue Book. So I'll put that in the description box below, but if you're interested, you could get yourself the Ball Blue Book. This is a very old copy. And you'll find the recipe for dilly beans right here. The nice thing is, because they're a pickled product, they only have to be processed in a water bath canner for only 10 minutes. Thanks for watching. You take care.